Hello and happy Monday, everyone, or happy whatever day it is you happen to be watching. So this week, of course, when it's nice and hot, I've decided that it is time to start mulching the garden space, just to make it easier for me so I don't have to mow as often, and then it helps retain moisture and heat for the plants as well. So let's get into it. And if it looks like I'm nice and hot, it's because I've already started. So here we go. As I explained before, I am mulching the garden this week, or basically what I'm doing is I'm adding mulch, or in our case what we're using is bark to make a layer over the grass. This is for multiple reasons. This makes it easier for getting through walkways. It also sets clear boundaries for walkways and where the beds are going to be for growing things. And it just makes it overall easier for me to maintain, because then I don't have to mow as frequently in the garden with all the grass that's there. And instead what I can do is, as things come up, I can pluck them out of my way and not have to worry about mowing every week or several days in the springtime when it gets absolutely ridiculous and we have a ton of rain and not a lot of time to go in and mow. We got the bark that we're using today from one of our lovely neighbors. They recently did a bunch of work on their trees. They did a ton of trimming of branches and just cleaned up their trees and asked the tree service to mulch up the branches and everything and leave the bark. Well, they ended up with probably 10 times the amount they needed and were very gracious and offered as much as we needed to use for whatever. So I don't think there's going to be quite enough bark. They've already used everything that they need, so the rest of the pile is fair game. But we have already done 2 loads, and I don't think we're going to have enough from their single pile to cover the rest of what I need in the garden space. I'm going to be building raised beds here soon, so that'll probably come out next week, fingers crossed, showing where the rest of the beds are going to go, and then we can put bark down around them. So we'll see. Maybe we won't need to go get more bark, but we'll see. I have a feeling we'll need to. Now, I guess I'm kind of doing this technically wrong. A lot of people would suggest you put a barrier layer down before you put the bark down. This is just paper or some sort of weed guard to stop things from growing up through the bark. I don't really care at this point, so I'm just going and putting it straight on the ground. And at this point too, it's dry enough, and I've cut back a lot of the weeds and the grass. I'm not concerned of anything growing through, and if I need to, I will just trim over the top next year or add more bark. That's something else you could do as well. You just add more because it will break down over time, and you just put more on top and it adds to your soil. So I am not concerned. Right here, I'm wetting down the bark because it's been really dry and it was super dusty, and it just helps to cut down on the dust, and it also helps everything to settle a little bit to make sure you have it relatively uniform in depth everywhere. So I just wet it down. It also waters the plants and it holds the moisture there for several days, so I don't have to worry about this excessive heat drying things out. This is what we've got. So up to the chickens, not quite, there's a pathway in there to the chickens I need to do. This side is going to get completely cleaned out. Then we have around the strawberry beds, down that side of the raspberries, and started on this side. So lots of garden left. All right, and that This is what we have done so far. We have gotten this section in between the fence and the raspberries done, and then we started over there. You can kind of see on that side, on the other side of the fence, and closer to where the chicken coop is and the run. Still have a lot to go, and I don't think the neighbors have enough bark for us to do the whole thing, so we'll see how far we get. Thankfully, we're planning on getting some tree people out to do our trees, and then we'll have a whole bunch more bark. So plenty more coming, and then I'll have the whole space done, which will make it easier on me because then I don't have to mow, which is a pain. So thank you so much for watching. Really appreciate it. If you guys like what you saw, please let me know. You can leave a like, drop a comment, you can subscribe. And with that, I will see you guys next week.